We'll call to order this meeting of the Tennessee Local Development Authority Audit Committee, May 31, 2023, in the Cordell Hall Building Volunteer Conference Room in the Comptroller's Lair. First item for action is the approval of the Audit Committee minutes from June 15, 2022. Before we do, let's call the roll, I guess. Sandy or somebody going to call the roll for us here for the committee?
Okay, Mayor Bradshaw,
Present.
Mayor Brown, Treasurer Lillard,
Here.
Secretary Hargett,
Here.
and Commissioner Bryson.
Quorum being present, meeting is called to order. First action item is approval of the Audit Committee minutes of June 15, 2022. Any motions or comments with respect to the minutes?
Move to approve.
All right, second. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second. All right, let's see. We got a physical quorum, so we don't have to call the roll.
You got it.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Next item is item 3, review of audit reports issued by the Comptroller's Office. Michael Campbell of the Comptroller's Office, come forward. It's your time.
Thank you. I'm Michael Campbell. I'm an audit manager with the Comptroller's Office. And this fall, we did our annual audits of the Tennessee Local Development Authority and the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. And our audit reports were released to the public on December 14th, 2022. Our financial and compliance audits were for the year ended June 30th, 2022. And both audits resulted in no audit findings, and we were able to issue unmodified opinions on both audits. Unmodified opinion is the opinion you do want. It means that everything we believe were fairly presented in all material respects. I would like to thank Sandy Thompson and her team at the Division of State and Government Finance for helping us with audits.
Okay, any questions of Mr. Campbell about the two audits here? All right, seeing none, thank you, and we appreciate your good work.
Thank you.
At the Comptroller's Office. All right, next item is item 4, review of financial statements, including significant accounting and reporting standards. On page 33 of your materials, Alicia West. Yes, ma'am.
A summary of the financial information is in your packets, and I will highlight a few things for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022 for our TLDA programs. For first, the State Loan Fund Program. We had at that time 3 borrowers, 3 loans outstanding, and $1,030,000 in bonds outstanding. And those bonds are scheduled to mature in 2029. For our State Infrastructure Fund, we only have 1 borrower. We collected $64,188 in loan principal and $25,356 in interest. For the TLDA programs, we have operating income of $564,749 and a net position of $18,064,051. No new loans are being issued for these programs. Next, for our State Revolving Fund Loan Program, for the Clean Water Fund, we dispersed $117,703,045, and we collected $59,474,084 in loan principal and $9,964,376 in interest. The net position of the Clean Water Program at June 30th, 2022, $1,209,049,855. Lastly, for the Drinking Water Fund, we dispersed $12,793,402, and we collected $11,028,373 in loan principal and $1,210,270 in interest. The net position at June 30, 2022, $223,849,583. And there were no significant changes to accounting and reporting standards for any of the programs. That concludes the report.
All right. Any questions, Ms. West, in regard to the report? I assume that's not an action item, so we'll thank you for your report and your work. All right, number 5 is the SRF summary of the PERS reports from the EPA. Ms. Jones?
Afternoon, committee. Thank you. In your packet, we actually have information on the previous year's PERs because we didn't know if EPA would get us the current PER recommendations in time, but they did. We're happy to say. So the SFY 2022.
It is 2021.
2021, yeah.
So we've, I believe we are already provided the SFY 2021 PER evaluation last year.
No, it was not ready at the time, and why it's included in this year's packet. So,
It's not ready. Okay.
right.
Well, that's great. We can go over the recommendations of all of them so that we're fully, that we fully understand everything. So. The DWSRF by 2021 EP, there were no findings or required actions, but they made several recommendations. Evaluation of different approaches and optimization, increased balances, and program pace. The state has reported that it is short staffed, but has made efforts to improve response rates to select projects. In addition, TDEC reports a significant increase in project requests in fiscal year 2020, estimating over 275. The second recommendation is that the state consider maximizing the percentage of additional subsidy for SRF capitalization. The state may utilize up to 49% of the available funds in the CAP grant to provide additional subsidy to eligible recipients. The minimum subsidization requirement for each CAP grant is 20%. And of TDEC's FY21, only 7.5% disbursement was for additional subsidy. So some of the actions we're taking on those two elements are rapid hire events to staff up. We are actually doing large amount of increased staffing. We're hiring, looking to hire 7 staff members on Friday through a rapid hire event at the state. Also reorganizing to bridge together the State Water Infrastructure Grants Program that has been obligating the ARP grants for water infrastructure with a state revolving fund program so that we can develop a better pipeline of projects for grants in planning and design to loans. The third recommendation on the list is that the state consider maximizing the percentage of this additional subsidy allowable for CAP grant awards, similar to the previous bullet. And we are considering all of these options and determining the best way to maximize additional subsidies, particularly for small and disadvantaged communities. If you want, I can also do the SFY 2022 recommendations by EPA.
Please proceed. Yes.
Thank you. So on March 13, 2023, EPA conducted an annual review, found no findings or required actions, but did have a couple of recommendations. Again, they recommended we evaluate utilization of cash flow modeling, improved marketing, all to decrease the uncommitted balances. And of course, they again recommended that we maximize the percentage of additional subsidy allowable for SRF capitalization grant awards. We are working to do that, and knowing that small systems, even though we are meeting our expected obligation for those additional subsidies, sometimes those small systems struggle to meet the timelines and get that subsidy moving, get that work moving fastly so we actually disperse that subsidy. Shall I move on to clean water?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So for clean water, we also had similar, and similar expectations with the no audit findings or no findings or required actions. And they requested that we do some of the same methods, some of the same actions for clean water as for drinking water, utilizing cash flow modeling to increase marketing and decrease our balances, as well as looking at additional staffing needs. EPA recommends that the state consider maximizing the percentage of additional subsidy allowable for SRF capitalization grants. We may utilize up to 30% of available funds, and we plan to do that also. And again, our disbursement rate is lower than our obligation rate, but we are working with our communities to ensure that they can work as quickly as possible for these projects.
Okay, any questions about those reports or anything of Ms. Jones? I would just ask, in the recommendations, you know, the examiners, state replied that to their recommendations, the state has reported that it is short-staffed, but has made efforts to improve response rates to solicitations for projects. Is there a backlog of responses to solicitations that have previously been sent out?
So I don't think there is a backlog this year. I've actually received quite a bit of inquiries saying that folks are responding quickly. And we are in the process of improving our business process. And we have made online forms so that folks can respond quicker in a virtual format. So it is our intent to continue to improve those business processes as we staff up.
And then the import of most of their recommendations here is they want you to loan more of the money faster is bottom line of it. So are we going to be able to do that, do we think?
So what I think we're going to be able to do is really develop a grant and loan companion process, since we have so much principal forgiveness we can award, and we do see that communities do respond to planning and design grants. That will help our communities who struggle with those upfront documents be construction ready, so they can move on to SRF for full-blown construction grants much quicker.
Okay. Well, we've got a number of systems throughout the state, you know, that have needs of remedial work being done. So it is good that we concentrate on trying to improve that. Yeah. All right. Any other questions of Ms. Jones? All right, seeing none, I think we have an action item on these reports, but we'll acknowledge the receipt of them in your report and thank you for your good work. Our next item is item 6, risk assessments memo from Ms. Thompson.
Yes, so the audit committee has in the materials a memo that introduces the risk assessments, and they are also attached for the Division of State Government Finance and the Division of Water Resources. These annual assessment reports address and document risk management and internal control requirements of TCA 918-102, known as the Tennessee Financial Integrity Act. The code requires us to establish and maintain internal controls to provide reasonable assurance that obligations and costs comply with applicable law, funds and assets are safeguarded against misappropriation or unauthorized use, and revenue and expenditures are properly recorded to permit accurate and reliable financial reports and to maintain accountability. Division of State Government Finance, on behalf of the TLDA, documents our compliance with these requirements by performing an annual management assessment of risk, is attached in your materials there, and to meet the objectives outlined in the requirements, which are to provide accountability, promote operational efficiency and effectiveness, improve reliability of financial statements, strengthen compliance with laws, regulations, rules, and contracts, and to reduce the risk of financial loss due to fraud, waste, or abuse. And that concludes that report, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, Ms. Thompson? To the risk assessments, I believe we have to approve this, don't we?
We have not in the past,
Have
so
not? Okay.
no, sir.
We'll acknowledge receipt and thank you for your work, Sandy. All right, number 7 is the next item, discuss management's responsibility to prevent, detect, and report fraud, waste, and abuse. Ms. Thompson,
It's okay, I'll do number 7 and number 8.
that'll be great.
Okay.
Yes. Discuss the comptroller's hotline, item number.
So it is leadership's responsibility to establish standards, a tone at the top, to be the first line of defense in preventing fraud, waste, and abuse. We continue to make the Division of State Government Finance staff aware of the inherent risks in performing their duties. These risks are monitored and mitigated daily by SGF leadership. We are all reminded by the comptroller and in our quarterly staff meetings to be aware of fraud, waste, and abuse and to report it immediately if identified. I'm not aware of any instances that have been reported in this past fiscal year. And then in addition to that, we do have the comptroller hotline so that employees and members of the community can call in the event that there is suspected fraud, waste, and abuse.
Okay. Any questions of Ms. Thompson in regard to items 7 and 8 on the agenda? Thank you for that. Item number 9 is the Audit Committee Responsibilities Calendar. Earl Pierce, Director of Internal Audit for the Treasury Department, is our assigned.
Yes, the listing in your packet there is entitled TLDA Audit Committee Responsibilities Calendar for the past year. It includes a listing of the responsibilities which are outlined in the Audit Committee's charter. So we've taken the initiative here to list out those responsibilities, including the documentation that's how those responsibilities were met, and also when they were presented to the Audit Committee, and the agenda items which were covered in last year's meeting. So that's there to let you know how the Audit Committee has met those responsibilities over the past year, or how those responsibilities have been met on behalf of the Audit Committee. Are there any questions?
Okay. Seeing no questions, and we've also got the next item, item 10, current internal auditing article. Earl, would you like to do that?
Yes, sir. This one is another tone at the top from the Institute of Internal Auditors. It discussed adjusting the risk appetite for non-financial measures, which is obviously something to consider when doing those risk assessments. Typically, as the article discusses, credit, market, and financial factors are normally considered in terms of risk appetite. However, non-financial factors can have a significant financial impact. Those include operational compliance, cybersecurity, reputational, and many other risks. And in some cases, non-financial risk may be more costly than other financial risks. So it's a very good article that talks about the issues there. One of the challenges in trying to assess non-financial risk, of course, considered the lack of consistent data and reporting of non-financial risk, and the need to ensure these risks and ensure adequate controls are put in place to mitigate those to acceptable levels. It also discusses how internal audit and other risk management areas can help the board in considering and regarding those non-financial risks.
Okay. Any questions of Earl about item number 10?
If I could, Treasurer, if I could ask maybe next year, Mr. Pierce could just read the article aloud and send us an audio file for us to listen to on our commute.
Absolutely.
Thank
I
you.
can do that for you, sir. I will send you the first copy.
I'd appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
In fact, if you want, we can also send you the codified Gatsby standards. If you want, you can listen to all 10 volumes.
I don't listen to them twice.
Okay. All right, on your next really long drive. All right, item number 11, other business. Any other business? Seeing none, we've got item number 12. The secretary's ready to go. He says move to adjourn. I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned. Thank you.